Hey everyone, this is Sal Vasquez, founder of Create Your Future Studios, where we focus on helping people create the life that they were always meant to live. And I have a question for you, a question that you're probably already asking yourself whether you realize it or not. And the question is this: what is your life purpose? Okay, so what did you come up with? I ask this question wherever I go to a lot of different people, and the answers are always different, and that's okay. But allow me to share my definition of what the purpose of life is. The purpose of life is for us to live fully alive. The purpose of life is to be happy, to live a thriving, extraordinary life. The purpose of life is for you to be fully you, the person that you were created to be. Well, can you honestly say that you're living fully alive? That you wake up in the morning happy and excited to live another day? Do you feel that you're living a thriving life? Do you have a sense of fulfillment in your life? Well, if you answer no to any of those questions, then don't go anywhere, because this video is for you. So in this training, I want to teach you the life purpose equation that totally transformed my life. And I know it has the potential to transform your life as well. Maybe you're at a place where you're asking these deeper questions. Questions like, what is my life purpose? What am I here for? How can I wake up in the morning and be excited about going about my day? How can I live a life where I'm actually happy and where I have a sense of meaning and fulfillment? Maybe you're at a place right now where you're in a job that you absolutely can't stand, and because of that, life seems hopeless. Life seems meaningless. Or maybe you're in a place right now where everything is going well. You're in a great job and you're making a ton of money, but deep down, you know that there's something missing, that there's something more than just going through the routine, the 9 to 5 every single day. Maybe there's a passion inside of you just waiting to emerge, but you think you have to just go through the motions in life. Or maybe you're in a transition right now and you want to do something that brings you a sense of meaning. The bottom line is, you know that there's something more. It's that gnawing feeling inside of your spirit where you're just asking yourself, even in secret, you're asking yourself and telling yourself, is there more to life than this? There has to be more to life than what's going on and what I'm experiencing right now. And the truth is, yes, there is. It wasn't too long ago. I was actually 19 years old, and I began to ask myself these deeper questions. And I had a life-changing experience that propelled me into the future, and it set me on this journey to figure out, what is the purpose of my life? What is going to bring my life meaning, and what is going to bring me happiness? How do I wake up in the morning excited to live another day? Everything fell apart in my life, and that began me on this wild and amazing journey that didn't necessarily stop when I was 19 and had this crazy spiritual experience that transformed my life and connected me to my life purpose and had me living life fully alive and fully awake every single day. But it continued to happen because I came to the place in my life where I was now married, and I had a little boy recently, and I began to ask myself and feel that there was something more in life than just going through the motions, waking up, going through the 9 to 5, trying to support my family. I knew that there was something more. I wanted to be able to fulfill my dreams. I wanted to be able to connect to the deep meaning and the passions that I had in my life and figure out a way to do that instead of just going along with what culture said, instead of just going along with being the responsible adult that I needed to be and that everyone said I needed to be. I knew that there was something more. And I guarantee you, if you're still watching this video, you feel the same way. Okay, so for the next few minutes, I want to lead you through this life purpose equation that I use in my life and I continue to use so that I can live a life where I'm happy, excited, where I'm connected to my purpose and living out a deeper meaning. So the life purpose equation goes like this: true self plus unique talents plus deep passion plus service to humanity equals life purpose. Well, let me say that again. True self plus unique talents plus deep passion plus service to humanity equals life purpose. Well, let me focus on true self, which is the biggest and probably the most important part of this equation. Because if you get this wrong, you're going to wind up somewhere else. You're going to wind up living out of your false self instead of your true self. Your true self is the person that you were always created to be. It's the authentic you, as opposed to your false self, which the majority of the people live out of. It's this inherited story that we have for our life. It's this inherited worldview that we live out, and we come to this place in our life where we wind up somewhere and we say, how did we get here? That's exactly what happened to me. I was living out of who I thought other people wanted me to be. I was living out of this place of just being false. I wasn't true to myself, and when I connected to my true self, things began to change. So who is your true self? What is that true part of who you are that if you connect to that, everything in your life would be different? I want to lead you through a quick exercise to help you really connect to who is this true self? Who am I? Who am I really created to be? I know it may seem weird, but I want you to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to think back to the earliest memory of who you are, that little boy or that little girl. I want you to think all the way back to the earliest memory that you can think of. And with your eyes closed, I want you to just begin to put yourself in that scene, whatever's going on around you, and I want you to just think about all of the characteristics of that little boy or that little girl. Describe that person. What was that person like? What were your likes? What were your dislikes? Describe who that little boy is. Describe who that little girl is in detail. Think of everything that you can from this memory and just start talking about it. Bring it up. Because the bottom line is this, and you could even pause this video to do this exercise and really think about it and write all this stuff down. But the bottom line is this: when you can connect to who that little boy or who that little girl is, that's who your true self is. Before the hurt, before the pain, before you were shaped by culture, before you were shaped by your parents, before you were shaped by friends, that's what the inherited self is. That's what the false self is. It's that false part of who you are that people told you you should be. But when you could connect to that little boy or that little girl, that's your true self. I remember when I did this, and I came up with this amazing picture of this blonde-headed little boy, full of life, full of energy, full of compassion and creativity, and I was able to use that image to really get at who is Sal really created to be. I want to encourage you to really think through this and really focus on who is that little boy and who is that little boy or who is that little girl. I guarantee when you connect to that, it'll transform your life. So the second part of the equation is your unique talent. There is a talent inside of you that no one else has. You were created with a unique talent and a unique way of expressing that talent, which sets you apart from everybody else in the world. So when you're able to connect to your true self and discover what your natural and unique talents are, you're that much closer to living out your purpose. There's some people that say, well, you know what, I don't really have any talents, or I don't really know what my talents are. Well, the reason why, if you fit into that category, the reason why is because you're so close to yourself. You're with yourself every single day. You don't necessarily have an objective point of view so that you can really understand what your natural talents are. That's why it's so important to go through stuff like this. It's so important to go through a self-discovery process so that you can understand who you were created to be, so you can understand what your natural talents are. And you know what? Here's another exercise for you to do. Usually the things that bring you the greatest satisfaction, when you're hitting on those things, when you're living out the things that bring you the greatest joy, usually in that place, in that intersection, is where your natural talents lie. So we spoke about true self, and then we spoke about our unique talents, and now I want to talk about the things that we're deeply passionate about. Because when we're able to bring together and when our unique talents and our deep passions collide, we're that much closer to really discovering what our life purpose is. And let me just say this. Life purpose is not necessarily what you do, but it's really who you are. Your life purpose, the greatest definition that I could give for life purpose, besides us being happy and alive and fulfilled, is this. Your life purpose is the overarching meaning you ascribe to your life. It's the overarching story that you have for your life. So when you connect your true self, your unique talents, and then your deep passions, when you can connect to that, when you can uncover what you're deeply passionate about, your life will totally change. I guarantee you, you'll be that much closer to living fully alive. So there are so many people that I speak with that say, you know what? Well, I don't really know what I'm passionate about, or I don't know what my passions are. And I love the quote by Joseph Campbell where he said that people aren't so much looking for the meaning of life, but they're looking for the things that make them fully alive. And the greatest way that I've discovered to help people discover what their passions are is to talk about those things that make you fully alive. What are the things that cause you to just light up? What are the things that get you all jazzed up? Those are what your deep passions are. And they're not there just by chance. That's how you were made. That's how you were created. So you doing anything else, or you trying to connect to anything else other than what you're passionate about, you're doing yourself a great disservice. You're not living out of your true self. You're living out of your false self. Maybe you're just trying to get by, and maybe you say to yourself, you know what, I can't really live out what I'm passionate about. It's just not realistic. It's not the responsible thing to do. It's not reality. Well, the truth is this. There is no other reality. There's no other reality than you living out who you were created to be. And all of these different pieces, when they come together, and when you can bring them all together and weave them together, you'll really hit on who you were created to be. You'll be able to bring out and start living out of your life purpose. And your life will be amazing, I guarantee you. It's the truth for me. When I was living out of that false self, yeah, I was just going through the motions. Life wasn't vibrant. But every time I can connect to my true self, when I start thinking about and living out of my talents and my passions, life is totally different. Life begins to make more sense. So I want to encourage you to take the time, maybe even stop this video right now and think about, what are the things that make me come alive? What are the things that get me all jazzed up? And just begin to write some of those things out. Here's another great exercise that you can do to really uncover your passions. What are the things that absolutely disgust you? What are the things that you absolutely can't stand? Think about some of those things, because you know what? I guarantee that there's passions lie inside of those. So now we move on to service to humanity, which is another huge part of this equation. There's one thing where you can really discover your natural talents, and you could be passionate about something, and you can live that out, and you could go on and you can live a great life. But where the magic happens, where you're really able to connect to that deep meaning, is when you're able to bring all of this stuff together, your true self, your natural talents, your deep passions, and you're able to give that as a gift to the world, where it's no longer really all about you, but it's about what you can give and how you can serve the world. When you can focus on that, when you can bring that together, you're hitting on some amazing stuff. So my question to you would be this. What can you give the world? What can you leave behind? What is the legacy that you can leave the world that would bring you the greatest sense of meaning, knowing that you can wake up every single day excited to get out of bed because you know that your life fits into this larger story? And that's really what it's all about. It's moving out of your little self, your little false self, to a larger self, to a larger story that you get a chance to be a main character in. I know for me, it wasn't until I started sharing my gifts with the world, it wasn't until I started sharing my passions about what happened in my life, what happened when I went from this broken place. I went from this place of living out of my false self, and when I started connecting to what I was created to do, and when I started giving that to the world, my life changed. I started volunteering at this youth group. And I was asked one day to talk to these young people. And the minute that I was asked to talk to these young people, I got so nervous because I didn't know what to say to these young people. I never spoke publicly before, and I got up there anyway, and I did it. And as soon as I started speaking, as soon as I started sharing my story of how I was, doing drugs, how I was just living this totally crazy lifestyle, and my journey through brokenness, my journey through where everything fell apart, and then when everything changed for me, when I had this spiritual experience that transformed my life, and I started talking to these young people about their path and the directions that they can go in. You know what? It was in that space, it was in that moment that I realized this is what I was created to do. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life. Because I was able to share my gift with the world, because I was able to share my passion with these young people, instantly I was able to connect with my life purpose. And from that point on, that's what I did. I began sharing my story all over the place, juvenile detention centers, internationally. I began to talk to schools and all different places. And it was in that place that I discovered what my life purpose was. And I believe that when you bring everything that we just spoke about, when you bring it together, you're going to be hitting on what you were created to do. Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to be doing a 4-week video workshop leading you through each step of this life purpose equation and helping you connect to your true self, uncover your unique talents, and discover your deep passions and how you could bring all of that together to live the life you were created to live, so that you can wake up happy. You can wake up with a sense of joy and fulfillment, ready to live the life that you were created to live. I know that this course has the potential to totally transform your life, because these are the exact principles that I have distilled and used in my life to get me to the place where I'm at, where I do wake up happy and excited to live another day, where I am fulfilled and I'm connected to my life purpose and actively and intentionally living that out. So I want to walk you through this process. All of the details are below this video. You can check that out. But I want to encourage you, invest in yourself, whether it's through this program or another program. Invest in discovering who you were created to be. I look forward to seeing you in this workshop, and I look forward to helping you create the future that you are called to uniquely create. Thank you.